Well, welcome back to another Coffee and a Chat as I try to get settled in here this morning. I kind of thought I would do this, and now I know I want to. And what did I do with my... Oh, there they are. I thought I lost my notes. That's okay. I could maybe do this one without them. So yesterday's video that I did, for those of you that watched it, was, what have I let into my house? And I had read to you out of Judges 3, 1 through 6, where after Joshua and Caleb had died, and they are the ones that took over leadership of the children of Israel after Moses died. And so now they're in the promised land. They're setting up their homes and getting ready. And God explains to them that he's left certain, because he had them go in and they cleared out all the enemies and to take possession of their land. Well, now he says that he's left some behind, and he's left them there for two reasons. One was to test them, and one was to train them. And I threw in a third one because as you go on in the Bible, you see God uses those groups to be his discipline for the children of Israel as well. When they would disobey him, he would let them go into captivity and be taken. And so, okay. So God really, he doesn't waste anything. He doesn't forget about things or do an oops. Everything is very strategic with God, and it's very intentional, and every little thing has a purpose. And so yesterday we talked about how it was testing them because they weren't supposed to intermarry with these pagan groups because they would be led into idol worship. And yet that's exactly what they did. And they worshiped the other gods instead of him. They would forget about him. And so, and I thought, I never liked, when I was in school and it was time to take a test, I never liked tests. Oh, it put so much pressure on me, but I usually did well on them. And, a test, it shows what we know, where we're at, and in life when we're tested, it's the same thing. Our true self comes out when we endure a test. Oh, we can talk really big. I know lots of people that can talk like they've really got it all together, but you put the test in front of them and they freeze up, or they run in fear, or they cry and complain like little babies because, oh, it's so hard. And, and the thing is, that test is there to determine where we're at, okay, and help us see it. God already knows, but it helps us see where we're at. And it's also meant to strengthen us, to make us stronger and show us where we need to strengthen ourselves. So the other thing that of why God left him is what I want to talk to you about today. So I'm just going to go back to Judges 3, and I'm going to just read verses 1 to 2 this morning. And it says, "These are the nations the Lord left to test all those Israelites who had not experienced any of the wars in Canaan. He did this only to teach warfare to the descendants of the Israelites who had not had previous battle experience." So that's another thing I covered yesterday's video, and you can always go back and watch that, and I'm sure it will help this make even more sense. But these were the children that had grown up. These weren't the adults that had been fighting the battles. But I talked a little bit about the battles yesterday. So when they went to war, it was very important that they listened to God, because God was the one who went before them, right? He was the one who had the battle all under control. And he told them what to do. So if he said, stand still and watch me deliver you, they needed to stand still and just watch him deliver. If he said, take up your sword, go into the enemy's camp and clean them out, then they were to take up their sword, go into the enemy's camp and clean them out. If he told them to march quietly and say nothing, they were to march quietly and say nothing. If he told them to sing a song, they were to sing that song. If he told them to give a shout, they were to give a shout. Whatever he told them to do, it was important for them to follow his lead. And it didn't always, in our human terms, a lot of times it didn't make sense. Like, how are you going to take the wall of a city down by simply marching around it? every day for 6 days once. Then on the 7th day, you're going to march around 6 times. And then on the 7th time, you're going to shout and the walls will come down. All the walls except one section that God has protected. Because Rahab and her family were there and God promised to protect them. So, you know, if do you think wherever you live, do you think they would send your military out like that and tell them just go march around the edges of the city quietly and then go back and, you know, and take a nap? It just be like, what? You know, we're so used to taking action and being aggressive, not passive. And when it comes to war, you know, so if we just are going to just sit there, whoever's telling us to sit there better know what they're doing. And the thing with God is he definitely knows what he's doing. He knows better than you know. He knows better than I know. So we need to listen to him. Well, okay. We are at war, you guys. Everybody on this planet is at war, whether they know it or not, whether they want to be or not. And this is a war that's been going on since the beginning of time. The war between, you know, and they do this a lot in movies, the war between good and evil, or the war between darkness and light. And that's very true. But good and evil have names, and dark and light have names. And whether we want to be in the battle or not isn't a choice. We're in it. Our choice is which camp do we want to be in. So darkness, evil, you know, that is demons and devils and powers and principalities, and that's darkness. And the light, good, that's God. That is God, and those who choose to be in his camp with him. So it's very important in this battle that you choose your camp and you choose it wisely, because if you don't choose a camp, you're in the camp of darkness, because that's where we all start. And we have to come to a point where that's why Jesus is the light, and we see him and we recognize, you know, who he is and the difference that he's going to make in our lives, and that he is making in our lives. And you know, and that's where we see our need when our eyes open. It's like, oh my goodness, I see where I'm at. And this is not where I want to be. And that Jesus is the bridge. He's the key. He's the door. He's the way to go into the light, because he is the light. And so when we receive him, we change camps. There is no sitting on the lines where I live in America, because I know there's people in a lot of other countries that have subscribed to my channel. And so here, you know, I'm in the United States of America, and, you know, we have two main parties when it comes to politics. We have the Republicans and the Democrats, and I do not have a party affiliation, because honestly, I don't know that means so much to me anymore as maybe it once did. It's kind of, you know, everybody's just whatever. So I do not have a party affiliation. I vote, and I vote my conscience, but I do not have a party affiliation. In life, we can't do that, you know. I mean, in life, there are people who think that they're just, well, I don't choose darkness, I don't choose light, I'm just neutral. You can't be. There is no neutral place. You're one or the other. So I know, you know, and a lot of people are not even aware that this battle's going on every single day. I'm aware, and I know a lot of you are too, from things that you've said to me. So I choose light. I choose Jesus. And I am so grateful that Jesus Christ, God's Son, chose me, that he made a way for me, that when he gave his life on that cross, if I was the only person that needed it, he still would have done it. That he thought about me when he was on that cross, that he was reaching out in love, saying, I know she won't even be born for, you know, almost 2,000 more years, but Angie, I'm doing this for you because I love you. And he was thinking about you, each one of you. He knows who you are. There's nobody he doesn't know, and he knows you intimately. He is acquainted with all your ways. So When he died for me. When he went into that grave for 3 days, and he didn't just lay in a grave, he was busy. He went into hell and took the keys of death away from the enemy, and he set the captives free. And there's all kinds of things. I believe it's in Peter, where it talks about some of the things that he did. But he was very busy, and he was going to war those 3 days he was in that grave, and he did it for me. And then when he rose from the grave, because see, if he hadn't resurrected, then none of it would be any good, because that's how he had to overcome death, was through life. And he did it for me. And as much as he did it for me, he did it for you. That this was a real sacrifice. He felt real pain. He suffered. And he went through all the things he went through. It wasn't some glorious, glamorous, he just went through the motions. No, he really went through it the same as what we would have had to go through if it had been us. Only because he's perfect, because he's God, he had the victory. And death could not hold him down. And there's this one song, I can't think of the name of it'll come to me at a weird time, but part of the song says that if you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. And, I know that because Jesus came out of the grave, I'm coming out of the grave. I'm not going to stay there. I'm walking out of that grave in victory because I'm with him. So this battle is very real, and it's focused on us to try and get us into the camp of darkness and to keep us there. Because see, the enemy does not want us to know Jesus, to love Jesus, to walk with Jesus, because he hates Jesus, and he hates the Father. And the greatest thing he can do to hurt them is to hurt us, because he knows that we're his heart. So with that in mind, I know that God has left, if he did this to the children of Israel, if he left some of the enemy there in order to train them, I know he's left certain things around me in order to train me. And so what this has me thinking about today is some of you, those of you that watch all the videos and have been following me for a while, know that my husband Marvin and I have gone through some pretty bizarre things lately, like for a whole week, we have 3 vehicles and all 3 quit running. And then, that story goes on, because then we had a little pickup that was given to us because a friend of ours who passed away. So we got this little pickup, and then it wouldn't run. We had 4 vehicles that weren't running, but yet God opened the door each time. And, and as we asked him, because in battle, it's important to hear from God and know, okay, what do you want me to do in this situation? What is it? What's your plan? And so we asked the Lord, and we waited on the Lord, and the Lord provided and is continuing to provide, and all these different things, because it wasn't just the vehicles. All kinds, our stuff in the house started breaking down. It's like everything began to crash at once, and there were people, rebuke the enemy, and it's the enemy attacking you and stuff. And Marvin and I didn't have that feeling that's what, yes, the enemy is definitely in there, but we felt that this was an act of God, that he was allowing these things to happen in order for us to grow in our faith by relying on him, to get stronger. And I believe that even more so now, because I've watched how he delivered and how he guided us, how he told us, how he would say, okay, this is coming, so just rest. I'm sending help. And then help would arrive. That things did not go like they usually do when we have a need. It can be very challenging at times to find somebody that can come help, and yet God was sending people. And every call we made, they answered, and we had more than enough help to come and rescue us when we were stranded on the side of the road, and everybody working together and doing it, doing their own part. We were very quickly able to get things taken care of. And then the Lord miraculously provided the finances, most miraculously. And it was one of those things where God said, I'm sending it. to you. You know, I'm sending the money, so don't worry. And I knew that he had said that. Now, I had no idea. And I told Marvin, I know God's sending money, but I didn't know how God was going to send it. And then it came, and I wanted to, I wanted to argue it and send it back and be like, no, because somebody out of the blue, well, not out of the blue, the Lord had told them, I want you to send this to Marvin and Angie. They didn't know. And it wasn't a YouTube thing or anything. It was actually, it was just one of those things where God had opened a door, and I had no idea what he was going to be doing through that door or what he's going to continue to do. So somebody sent a very, very generous gift like I'd never, ever received before. And it was very humbling. But it was needed to meet the need, or at least part of the need. And so I couldn't argue with where it came from, because God had already told me it was coming. And then he said that, you know, and I want to say this not because of anything about Marvin and I, but because I think it's a very important principle that when God puts seed in your hand, not all that seed's for you. That some of that seed is to help somebody else. And so we took a portion of what was given to us and we set it aside to help other people that were in impossible situations. And God just started bringing them to us so that seed could go out to help another person, you know, and then another person, and however he wants. I mean, there's more seed there now, because we constantly, I mean, any money that comes into our hands, you know, we give, you know, our portion to our church and you know, in our tithes and offerings, but we also hold out another seed, and we have very little. And I suppose that could be tempting to say that, well, instead of giving that to, you know, help somebody else in need, because we're in so much need, that we'd keep it. But I think if we ever did that, it would work against us, because we've already purposed in our hearts that goes to help someone else. And I tell you something, Marvin and I both much more want to help somebody else than to have somebody help us. We love to give, but it is hard to receive. And yet we've got to be able to do both. So the gift that God sent first, he ended up doubling that gift. And we have prayed over every penny of it and asking God to show us how to use the seed, how to help others, as well as to take care of what our needs are. And I'll tell you guys, God is faithful. So I'm sitting here and saying all this because I know that some of you have told me you're going through some stuff right now too, that some with your health, that it has just all fallen apart. I was talking to someone last night, and they had just gone to the doctor, and they're, because you can get, I guess you get your lab results saying, I don't go to the doctor, but that's me, not you. You do you, I do me. But I guess they can look at their lab work online as it comes in, so they can see it before they even go to see the doctor, which, that's interesting. So, yeah, I'd probably be all over that. I would love that. I love that whole thing. Being able to figure it out now. But mine would be, okay, Lord, so what's the medicine that you made that I need to use? But anyway, their labs are not coming back good. And there are things that are showing up that make no sense. And it's like everything's bad. Like there's nothing good there, and there's nothing that doesn't have showing something wrong, and they're just like, oh my word, you know, and like they're like, I want to quit looking, but I can't. And then, oh, here's another lab came in. Oh my word, I can't believe, you know, and so these things happen, and I know that others are going through these things too. And a lot of times, and me too. My first thing is I just want to start rebuking the enemy left and right, and how dare he come in here and try to mess with God's child. But sometimes those things come because God allows them to come so he can train us. And I have felt with Marvin and I, the things that we have faced lately. I mean, we went, okay, so, first of the year, and we're getting all the notices of all the different things that are going up. Our internet's going up, our cell phone's going up. The house payment has gone up because of taxes and taxes and insurance. What else? All car insurance is going up. I can't remember. Anyway, in one day, all on the same day, I got all these notifications either by email or in the mail. And so the increase is extremely significant. And I just laughed because I'm like, it's okay, because God's going to take care of it. He already knows this is coming. He's already got it worked out. And if we have to live on the street, well, he'll show us which street he wants us to live on. I mean, it really did not upset me. And, and I told Marvin, and I'm kind of laughing. Yeah. So now this is going to be this, and this is going to be that. Oh yeah. And this one starts in 30 days, and, and I don't know how to do it. And so, but I just couldn't stop laughing because I know that God's in charge. And I told Marvin that. I go, this isn't upsetting me. And yet I know that if we were to go back 10 years, oh my word, I'm sure I would be, maybe even 5 years, maybe 3, I don't know. But you don't have to go that far back in the past, and I would be in a panic. I would be having anxiety like nobody's business. I would be depressed. I would be shut down. I would be worry, and yet all I can do is laugh with a sincere, not a laugh because it's so bizarre, but a sincere laugh of joy, because I know God already has it worked out, and that I don't have to dwell on it or worry about it. I just need to listen to him and do what he tells me to do. So there's where we're at, If you're going through some hard things right now, and odds are you are, recognize that you are at war. You're in a war, whether you want to be or not. Make sure you're in the camp of light, and then listen to God. Listen to the Creator of all things, the one and only true God and his Son, Jesus Christ. Listen to him and do what he tells you to do. Let this training time make you strong, because see, we ain't seen nothing yet. Read your Bible. This is nothing. We went through, our little, thing that made everybody sick and all. See, I'm having to watch my words now, because I'm learning that it's not just you guys listening, and there's certain things I'm not supposed to say. And so I don't care, except for I don't want anything shut down. So I went through this thing. A lot of people weren't feeling well. You know what I mean? And we thought that was so horrible, but the loss was nothing compared to what the Bible talks about is coming. We battle, I can't wait till this spring and summer, because the winter has been so crazy that I'm pretty sure it hasn't killed off a lot of the pestilence like it needs to, the insects and things. So, the ticks and the mosquitoes and stuff are probably going to be off the chart for us this year. And we're going to have more and more wildlife, because not only has there been, keeping things awake that should have gone to sleep, and reproducing that shouldn't be reproducing right now, and all of that, is that all these housing developments going in, we're some of the only woods left in this area. And all this wildlife is being pushed into our woods. And we've got some tracks. Marvin took me, or he hasn't taken me out yet, but he was telling me, and I need to go out and look at some of these tracks because we've got some big things, possibly some coyotes now in our woods, which is crazy. We never have anything like that. I mean, I know we have a fox, you know, because we've seen it. We have an overpopulation of raccoons because we've seen that on when we put our trail camera out. And so, yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. And so when I have to walk out towards the woods now, I carry a bush axe with me, and I've got, you know, I need to have a knife on me and stuff. I have to have a way to be able to protect myself now. I mean, I've had to do this before, but we're back where it's more serious now than it's been. We're coming into some things that we don't even know the half of. And so even though I think, well, I haven't seen anything and I'm not worried about, I'm carrying the bush axe with me. Is it convenient? No. But I'll tell you, I one day I was within 3 feet of a rabid raccoon, and if it had not been so far gone that it was blind, I would have been bit. And because I didn't know it was there until too late, but the thing was so far gone and that it was already blind, and so it knew I was there, but it couldn't find me, and I was able to get away. You know, and that was an eye-opener for me. But do I always remember to take some, because I had nothing to defend myself that day. It was just a beautiful summer day. Why would I need to defend myself? Yeah. So I should have then learned to always have my bush axe on me, but I didn't. So now we're seeing signs of things, and we know something's been killing other, you know, smaller, you know, birds and rabbits and things in the woods. So something's out there munching away, and it's big. So whether I see it or not, I'm not playing with it this time. I'm learning. He's getting through to me. So Marvin said, you carry something with you. I'm carrying something with me. And yeah, it's time to wake up. Don't be upset about the things that are going wrong, or the things that seem to be trials and stuff. I think, you know, and I'm saying this to myself more than anybody, is don't be upset, Angie, but see that you're in training so that when these bigger things come, you're going to be able to handle it. Okay. Well, I think that's all I got to say today. And I'm drinking tea today. My eyes are feeling all funny, like sometimes, like, you know, like you'll kind of get a cold in your eye. Yeah, I kind of woke up with that, and they were feeling kind of tender when I went to bed last night. So I got me my herbal tea going to take care of that, and because I don't have time to be down with with anything. Too much to do, and the Lord's got me in training, so that's part of it. When I feel something trying to come on my body, I have ways to fight that and stop it. So I'm not going to put it off. I'm going to stop it. All right. I love you guys. I hope you have an awesome day today, and be blessed. I'm praying for you. You pray for me, and I will talk to you later.